President Clinton, thank you for taking the time to speak with us today.
Glad to do it.
15.1% of Americans were living under the poverty line last year. It's the largest in over 50 years. Record number, 46 plus million. Do you think the American dream is dying or at risk of going away?
I think the American dream has been under assault for 30 years. I think that the adoption of two bad ideas accelerated it. First of all, we were going to have challenges when we moved to a global financial system and an information technology revolution occurred, which eliminated a lot of intermediate jobs, dramatically increased productivity. Then, about 30 to 35 years ago, the idea of what a corporation is changed. Before that, a corporation had more or less equal responsibilities to its shareholders, its employees, its customers, and the communities of which it's a part. Now, it's shareholders up here, everybody else way down here. And then I think, this 30-year anti-government rant that America's been on, something no other country in the world is doing, including all the ones that have predominantly been governed by conservatives in their country. Instead of figuring out how the government and the private sector can work together, saying the government is the source of all of our problems, and if we just choked it off and there was never another regulation, never another tax, never another program, all would be well. There is not a single solitary example on the planet where that's worked, including in America. It hasn't worked here.
The Clinton Global Initiative is kicking off, and one of the focuses this year is on jobs. We hear from economists, pundits, a very varied reasons why there aren't jobs in America. Too much regulation, uncertainty over taxes, President Obama's alleged anti-business rhetoric. Why do you think there's so little jobs growth?
I think because, first of all, we just went through a financial crash, and they generally take 5 years to get over. We still have a lot of detritus that hadn't been cleaned out from the housing crash. I think until we clean that up, it's going to be very hard to get bank lending going again, even though banks have more than $2 trillion uncommitted to loans. Corporations have about that much that they haven't invested. And I think that what's uncertain is demand. I think even in this economy, savings has gone up among families because everybody's afraid. Everybody just sort of shuts down. And I think that as we clean up our financial books, and including the governments over the long run, and look at areas of real opportunity for job growth, I think we can get things going again. But, for example, a lot of banks aren't making small business loans even when there's good collateral, compelling collateral.
And
it's not because they're worried about regulation. It's because they're earning a fair amount of money now doing nothing, and they don't have to pay any interest on deposits. So it just takes a while to turn it around.
So what are the most exciting or impactful things that CGI and governments around the world can do to spur job growth?
Well, first, I think they need to look at what the potential is. In very poor countries, they can start feeding themselves again. Most poor countries, let's say in Africa or Haiti, where I work, their capacity to generate income from agriculture is enormous with just modest investments. Bill Gates, bless his heart, has committed a lot of money to this and has written a lot about how we can generate enormous employment and income growth from self-sustaining independent farmers. I think that's important. I think that the whole energy revolution gives people an opportunity to create jobs everywhere because it's more decentralized.
Do you expect any specific announcements at CGI?
I do. I think there'll be some coming out of here. I think the older countries can create enormous numbers of jobs with a renewed round of efficiency commitments. The United States is about twice as energy efficient as we were in the first oil price embargo back in the 70s. But we're more than twice as inefficient as a lot of our major competitors. We could literally create 1 million jobs here if we had a systematic way of financing building retrofits everywhere.